Make a motion to call the meeting at 7:09.
Second.
Motion approved.
Vote on it?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, anybody abstaining? Passes unanimously.
Okay, you want to introduce yourself?
Mark Sant?
David Broll. Patrick Heffernan.
Mike Volpone.
Celine Muldowney.
John did call, email and said he was homesick.
Okay. I did make a few copies of last month's minutes.
Thanks.
I approve them because I wrote them.
I'll give him a second to be in front of
You, I have to send you November's.
Yes. I usually have to post February next time. I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
I have a
Now we go to discussion.
discussion. Just wanted you to go back to guest speakers. I alluded to it earlier when Chuck Bear questioned about the termination of the adult soccer league. We really didn't terminate. We did not
Renew.
approve or accept their application.
Okay.
So we could change that from terminating.
So do we have, can we,
You amend the minutes.
Make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that it was we did not accept the adult soccer league applications.
I second that amendment. Now you vote on the existing amendment. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we go back to the original passing of the minutes. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Who motioned the original ones?
Me.
Mike. So you want to make that change before we post it?
Yes, please.
Okay, can I take that from you then? So do. We have no bills
Caught
this
up.
month.
That's a good way to start the year.
Pay for it in spades next month, probably. And that's it, other than eventually at some point in the meeting, I don't know when, but I brought this document that we're supposed to redo.
Which one's that?
It's the for field permit application
That'd be on the new
and the fee
business.
schedule.
On the new business.
That's all I have.
So we should be going to, we've done the minutes, next should be old business or special committees.
Special committee.
So we'll be talking about the command of field, our meeting with the building team.
Okay, an update for everybody, and then you can ask questions. We did present at the capital committee. They seem to be favorable on the concept. There are some details to be worked out in terms of, one was a cost analysis with regard to the concessions and the equipment that might be coming in. Whether or not having the additional equipment was worth the extra space. Is it something that we want to put in at a different time? They're looking at crunching at the numbers. I use a number of, if we had 100 kids on the field, could we adequately provide safety for them in case of a thunder or lightning storm? And for standing room only, it's usually about 5 square feet per person in that range. I said 7 to 8. It's crowded, but it's there. The one thing I did include is what the stress load is of of the structure as it currently stands. After the meeting, we discussed about having Savoy do a re-examine their numbers for a more accurate, updated version. Those numbers are a little old and include some new changes into it, and do a cost comparison, whether it's more efficient to put in open cell insulation now, because the walls are open, or batting, and what is that going to do to our overall cost for electrical work, whether or not what kind of heating units. As we all know, technology changes rather quickly in 5 years. So what was, baseboard heating is fine, but does the extra $7,000 or whatever it is for a heat pump that would allow cooling and more importantly, dehumidifying the building, particularly if it's not constantly being used, to prolong its longevity, is that a value? So ask them to do not just, here's what the bare minimum is, but provide us with the cost analysis and a couple of different options. Going in so far as if it only cost, for example, $20,000 to put in a solar panel, does it make sense to ask for that money now where our electrical cost would be zero? With virtual metering, the town itself would benefit from free electricity while we're doing it. Right now the number is up to $200,000 and the question becomes, what do we need and what is the best value for the taxpayers? Not necessarily the cheapest, because we know that cheapest does not necessarily mean value. The process is, once we get approved from the capital committee, the town will put up a budget, the board of selectmen will look at it, approve it, goes to finance committee, and then hopefully get put on to the warrant for approval by the taxpayers.
That's in the spring, the next time that there's
April, May, late April,
Yeah.
April.
I don't believe a date has been set, but yes.
Usually around that area.
Okay.
It's usually the annual, the big one
Yeah.
for the budget that needs to be in place before the start of the year.
So have you met with anybody yet, or did you get a chance to meet with anybody or not? 'Cause I know, for me, I thought you said you were gonna try it, but I didn't know if you had yet or
Meet
not.
with, I've talked to Tracy about some of the ideas.
We're waiting to get back from Savoy.
We want to make sure that, I guess the question is, everybody concurs that going back to Savoy to get new numbers is prudent on our part. So Tracy will do that and share that information with us and Capital. And then have another conversation with Capital Committee regarding any other questions they have.
Well, obviously, was the other thing they brought up too. They wanted to know whether if we had the kitchen facility in there, what's occupancy? If we didn't have a kitchen facility in there, what's occupancy? And then what we would do instead of using the kitchen setup, we would either work with a food truck or a lunch truck type of thing that there's enough now that are growing in the area that they actually pointed out that they've used and have been very successful with. You're not dealing with the extra piece. You can gain revenue off of it saying, yeah, come on in, give us a flat fee or a percentage of the sales, which is actually better to work with a flat fee. And then can we pick up capacity there to do things? So those are some of the scenarios that they're looking at with Savoy too, just to get an idea, I
But I
presume.
thought part of the concession piece was to be able to help some of the nonprofits.
Yes, and that comes in.
And it's not a full kitchen, it's a.
No, that's why they're doing both pieces here.
And a cooking element, because they did put in a grease trap.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean, I don't think that, once you put in a cooking element, you're bringing in a whole nother level of sanitary things that.
Yes, there are a lot of health regulations with preparation, storage and preparation of food. And that's part of the question that we need to ask ourselves. And as we said at the capital committee, feels like a capital campaign, what do our users want? You know, if they say, we really want to be able to store food and work out of this under these circumstances, then it's sort of what we need to do. It's not necessarily what I want personally, it's what do our users feel is the best value. In conversations earlier, nothing official with one of the users is, do they need to cook food? No, people can put in crock pots and serve food that way. Again, there's health issues, but I would say if you serve food, that it's your responsibility, as our permit already requires. You take on the responsibility of any permits and health-related issues that comes with it.
So the plan is not to be selling concessions out of that as far as the town? It will be completely, whoever comes in, whatever user, will bring their own stuff, is that correct?
I thought it was
Yeah.
50-50.
Well,
Well,
that's-
it's a discussion on who's getting what of the money, but the idea, yes, originally the idea was to do a concession. It's talked at the capital meeting where they all of a sudden discussed this lunch truck idea, or to have food done, as we've discussed in previous meetings, of having the half barrel things where they could do the grilling outside, or something that, where inside you'd have some a fridge, a counter, an electrical place, so if they wanted to put the crock pots in, or they wanted to do, put drinks and stuff in the fridge, or ice and stuff, that was available to them. But again, then you look back to capacity. How much does that take up? How much should we lose in space? Is it 4 people, 5 people? Then maybe it's not a big deal, but if it was 15 to 20 people, that's a whole different ballgame regarding to what we can do. Mark's brought up a lot of good ideas regarding to things we can put in there, and that you all of a sudden take up the user fee piece on that, that could help us revenue-wise to recoup this money.
And the other thought I had was, there's 2 levels, correct?
Well, there is a first floor and then what's considered the basement.
Okay, so that would be, you were talking once before, a thunderstorm came by, people could go out, I mean, they could evacuate and hit that. And then talking about maybe doing some yoga, the same deal, it would be mainly in the first floor?
First floor and porch, so the
Yeah.
question becomes threefold. One, what kind of grounding is the building set up for? Does that include the front porch in terms of our capacity to shelter? Is the basement sufficient for emergency standing room only cover? The same thing with upstairs. And then again with the upstairs, the use of multi-use room, not to replace any of the meeting rooms that the town currently has, but for example, with the yoga, it'd be ideal, one of the individuals I talked to does Tai Chi, love to do an open space, a free one for the seniors, but if it rains, do you really want to tell people, sorry, go home? We could move it indoors or onto the porch, we could still engage and move forward. So that goes back to working with Savoy to give us the details of occupancy, as it would be, I forgot the code for it, for assembly standing room only, about 5 square feet per person, upstairs and downstairs. The question I didn't have the answer to was what the stress load of the floor was, which newer construction, 2 by 10, I'm not really concerned. The span is what, 25 feet? And I don't remember if there's any columns holding up midway, so it should be adequate to hold at least 100 people. And that's a high figure, but in many ways a low figure.
So the plan for, do we know, did they ever come back to you or anybody regarding to when they're meeting next?
They're meeting, I think, the 17th or something like that.
Next Tuesday?
Their chairman said, if we need to speak to you, I'll let you know, and we'll send out an invitation. The big question is getting the information from Savoy to give them the details. They may be able to get the information directly and be satisfied.
Did Tracy give you an idea of when that possibly could happen?
No.
Okay.
You know,
Because again, we're stuck in neutral until we get that piece back at least.
well, there's a lot of other things that we could be working
Yeah.
on, but going back to your question about concessions, there are a lot of mental models of concession operations. And it's not either or. It might, it might be for this event, Trident Youth Lacrosse, because there's a tournament, we'll run the concession. And they see how fit, if they just want to do prepackaged goods and drinks. And somebody else, Pentucket, wants to do this. Well, we may ask them for a percentage. We may have an event going on where we invite the seniors to come in and run a concession So the Council on Aging raises funds and gives some of our townspeople something to do, to be involved, and raise funds for themselves, and use different models. So it gets utilized and it's accessible to all. Not necessarily a money generator for the rec committee, but if it can be at times without excluding others, I think that's the way we have to start looking at it. Food trucks is part of the option, part of the equation.
And with the food trucks, you have to have, I would assume, a water source and a power source for them, correct?
It depends on the food source, it depends on it. When we used it was an ice cream truck at Hoods Pond, neither were required, they came self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Most of them do nowadays because between the generators and different things they need, they don't have to work, but they have to keep that up to code and everything, so they usually have what they need.
Yeah. Or, yeah.
Again, it was just an idea that they brought up, and it was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
and it's
So
just,
with the food trucks, wouldn't you need like a minimum number of people that,
That's up to them. Again, I don't think it's our call to say you need to have so many people in order to get a food truck.
no, I mean, in order for them to want to make it worth their while to come?
what I'm saying is, we can either, again, do it by a percentage, we could do it by a flat fee, or we could do a combination saying, and again, this is an example, $200, we'll take 5% up to $200. And after that, it caps at that. Giving them the option, okay, if they don't have a big day, then they don't pay the small portion, where if they do have a good day and they can make a lot more money, then we just cap at that number and we go there. I mean, those are just different ideas or examples we can use. But, yeah, I mean, they'll see an idea what a vet is, they'll have an idea.
So I guess I'm wondering is, can we be fluid and kind of, depending on the event, can we make the concession area in a way that it can be collapsible, so that it's not in use? You know, you put the fridge and the
Fridge or stove or the sink
along
in
the
there.
wall,
would be
and
one
then
you-
maybe some kind of bar area where you're actually selling your things that can be,
The way it's currently, if my memory serves me correctly, certain areas would be permanent in place. Storage for dry goods and food perhaps, a refrigerator, etc. The front, there are two windows to the left of the double doors. There are double windows, and the mental model would be, you open those up, people walk up to the window, served from the window, and there would be
so
some...
people aren't coming in.
Well, we'd have to relook and design. The original idea, if you remember the picture, was, and there's been some modifications to the project along the way that people conducted, but the
Weren't the
idea...
bathrooms like right behind those two windows too? On
No,
the
that-
extras was gonna be?
Bathrooms are in
No.
the back left.
Yeah, but you're saying go in to the left, there's two double windows, and I'm trying to think where the
This is
kitchen
where
is
the
going there.
concession is, bathrooms at the far end.
Oh, the second to the, I just said to the left of the double doors, but I was looking from the outside.
I'm coming in, to the left is here, and the idea is minimize people,
Yeah,
traffic
that
coming in.
makes
just-
more sense.
Okay.
And the design doesn't necessarily look that, it's just, it's two double hung windows side by
So the
side.
concession area could be as little as a fridge, a freezer, a place for crock pots and whatever, and then banquet tables to just kind of store your stuff because you're selling out a window.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then that's removable in the event that we need the space for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get a couple of folding tables and stuff and put them up there, and again, if we want to get into the point saying, yeah, if you want to use the table, it's $5, or we could just comp it, whatever we want to do. I mean, these are things we'll look at,
Flat fee
but,
for them to
yeah,
be
but it's
able
like
to
if we're
use
gonna
the
do-
things and then make the money,
yeah.
Again, that's...
depending on the event.
And again, it might be part of their rental that it comes here.
Yeah.
I don't feel that it needs to be a consistent source of generating funds for the rec committee, rather a way to support our users.
Mhm.
So when they succeed, we will succeed. And that goes back to the food trucks. It's not necessarily what we want for food trucks, but if you want a contract, here are the expectations and the rules. It's up to you to make sure that the permits in place, or actually it's gonna be up to the food truck to make sure the permits in place, and then, in terms of health, but also if there's any other permits needed to operate in the town of Newbury. So those responsibilities don't fall on us, rather on whoever contracts out, because can become quite messy, not just in terms of permits, but who do you allow in? How come we let somebody in? If we stay out of it, and that's my experience with, when we used the ice cream truck in another facility, it became problematic for the town, because how come you let somebody else use it, and if this is, if we start making those decisions, I don't think that's within our purview.
No, we shouldn't. We want to make this as simple and as easy and user-friendly as we can. Again, we could go back to the table of fact of just saying, as long as the table's not damaged, then fine. If the table's damaged, you have to replace the table, but you can use it. Those are the type of things that make it easier in that regards. Again, we can look at and discuss how we want to.
But while we are waiting for information, I think it would be prudent on our part to have a small committee of 1 or 2 people to draft up policies about what the expectations are and possible fee structure, so we could have a deeper conversation like in February and say, all right, here's what we looked at, maybe do some research about what other places are doing. We do know that, and this was a survey which I'll talk to in a bit, some of our users already do some concessions. And they throw up a table in a tent and they sell prepackaged goods. That might be the model we want to operate from. We might talk about, what happens when you go inside. What do we ask for a deposit? But come up with some guidelines before we get too far down the road and people start asking us questions when we're throwing it out. Does that make sense? Do we have any volunteers for that
I'll
committee?
help with it. I mean, kind of swamped over the next month. That's my problem. I have 2 trips I gotta make to California and Texas, so I have no problems in helping out where I can.
When you were saying before about the trucks, is that, it'd be kind of thing where you just, you could call Metzi's up and find out from Metzi's what their sort of parameters are of sending a truck? Or, there's 2 or 3, maybe more that are around. I mean, is that one of the things that we should investigate, or is that something where if we ask Metzi's and not somebody else, we're in trouble?
Well, again, it goes back to why are we asking? Why is the rec committee asking?
Okay.
It should be Joe's soccer club is hosting a tournament. It would be on the application. Would you be inviting any food trucks? If so, which ones?
We're consultants. We're just giving them information. It's their decision on how they want to handle it.
Okay, so it's
But
not.
Food is up. These are revenue opportunities for them.
Okay.
From the policy, like trying to set a policy, trying to set some guidelines, it'd be great to get a Metzi's, because they must know what it is in Newbury, because
Yeah.
that's what they're operating, so
And-
that might be the first place to go, at least in terms of what the
Yeah.
guidelines are.
Yeah.
Or Johnny Rockets. Here's what we do for ice cream. Here are and then talk to somebody at town hall about what the permitting process is. And again, that would be on whomever is hosting. This is not saying we would never host a food truck. It might be, we are hosting an ultimate frisbee tournament in the summer. The rec committee is hosting it, and we want to invite, and we put a call out. We know 10 places, and we throw it out. We would get a better understanding what our legal requirements are, but
Yeah.
right
What they
now,
need.
it's more concerned from our users, making sure that they inform us of it, that everybody is on board about the legality of it and safety of it.
So the subcommittee is to specifically evaluate.
Policies and procedures and fees for the use of sessions.
For concessions, right?
Concessions.
Yeah.
The concessions in use, because the other thing she's got sitting in front of her is the fee structure for the form itself, for the use of the field.
Since I'm going to Texas too, I'll help you out with that. I'll join you. 2 of us can work on the plane.
I'm going to San Antonio.
All right, going to Dallas.
Sorry.
All right.
Where's
Actually-
changeover? Houston?
Actually, I take that back. Actually, I
split there.
take that back. I am going to Dallas. I'm going the 25th.
I'm going that week.
I'll be, and then I go to California the week of the 13th. Excuse me.
be happy to help you. I mean, I think the concession thing is something it's a good opportunity for us.
And fees.
Yeah.
Our next meeting is the 6th.
I think we can be incredibly flexible because there's been nothing. So even if it takes us a year of stumbling around to figure out what works best, it's still better than where we've been for the last couple of
It
years.
just gives guidelines,
Yeah.
and we don't get ourselves stuck into a trap of how come you let,
Yeah.
what, it's here and ready.
I think the finance committee, listening to your discussion with them, they like to see specifics. They wanted to see everything on the table. They were like, well, how many people do you lose when you take out how many people do you lose when you have these facilities in there? And you think to yourself, well, we don't, there's nothing set in stone. So we couldn't, you didn't say, you couldn't tell them.
Well, it was a very tough conversation, because if you say, well, we don't need any of this, one of the questions would be, why did we put in
Yeah.
the grease trap?
The thing I realized too is, we're all brand new to this committee.
Yeah.
John's the only holdover, and he hasn't been in the last couple meetings because of different situations for him, but, so we're trying to figure out how to do this.
Right.
I mean, we came on board in September, and by the end of early November, we already had a plan in place, which I thought was pretty impressive to get that done in such a short time.
Well, I think there's I'd like to have cautious optimism that people would like to bring this facility to completion, that for the value for the dollar, it is exceptional. We're still under the $200 per square foot for a commercial building. And right now, there's absolutely no value to it after we've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is an attractive nuisance, as they would say. So with new numbers from Savoy, with us putting in some work and in policies and practices, we'd be able to be able to complete this project at no cost, no changes in taxes for our constituents of Newbury, and in due time actually provide a revenue, small but a revenue stream for the town. Very few projects, capital projects in town can say that.
It's one step at a time.
I can help you guys, but, somebody point me in a specific direction of what information you want.
We'll just,
I can
we'll,
go to Sean.
yeah, we'll sort it by email, figure who's got what, and then we'll, can I see that form set?
I'll chat around with Betsy's people and find out what they, or just an idea. I'm sure they know what the box trucks needs for power.
Curious to see if it was,
What
if that had
it's
deal on, I mean, we can use
it's too
a basic template
Tony,
like
we
that.
get outside,
and we just-
here's the regs.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of stuff.
So then we know that
Concessions,
information. Then we
use
can-
of
We
the.
go to the electrician and say, we need to have all
Is
here,
this
we
the
need
field
this.
permit,
Right.
and then the use of the building, which, I don't know what it's called, manto field, manto building, or what it's called.
In terms of.
But the use of the building, and then what's the use for it, and then the fee structure based on what they're looking for. The hard
How do
thing
you
is
set
that
up
with occupancy,
an
the same
area
kind of numbers we're
that
talking
has
about,
6 crop pots
we can
and-
adjust
and
accordingly, based, let's say it's got
on this
100.
outlet, or on the circuit.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be,
75.
everything,
With the kitchen,
refrigerators have to
we
be on
can
a
just
single circuit.
adjust
There's
that
a
if we
whole-
need to.
it's
And
all-
have
So
to
code,
work on
so-
it.
Yeah, that's.
So there's
I know-
just a separate fee schedule just for that?
Yes,
It is my understanding. when we
that's
go
field,
into
that's
bid,
for the field itself, so
we will look
it's
at,
keeping two things separate. If
so
someone
with-
wanted to do, then just fill out 2
for
forms.
students to do
I need to use this
electrical
for
engineering.
this event, I'm using
If we
the
can
house
come back
for,
with a more definitive-
the field house
the more
for
information
this event, and then we can go from there.
Capital
Yep.
and finance, the better off we are.
Because they may not need the field, so you want to make sure you have a
Yes, your
separate form.
information is needed.
Unless there's a way to combine it all into that one, which I don't think we can. That's a little busy to have all that. Do you agree?
I agree. I don't know, everybody else heard what was.
We were just saying, we're trying to figure out, should it be a form for the house, should it be a form for the field, or should it be one form altogether? And looking at that form that Celine has, I think it's too busy for all one form, so, and where you can do one or the other, I think it'd be easier if you had 2 separate forms. Not that I want to make additional work.
And somebody
to
may
it.
be using the field and somebody else may want to use the house, so.
Yeah, we could actually have two events going on at the same
Well,
time.
come up with a design,
Yeah.
present it, and then we'll have comments.
Okay.
Just like we did the other thing, you started it, we all mulled it over and made our changes and sent the draft.
Okay.
We talked about
Old
capital.
business, are we good?
We're still in old business, but I mean, I don't think we have anything else.
Well, the only thing is that,
There is a bunch of old business
Oh.
to go through, but we do have people here that had some questions or comments.
For
Adult youth soccer, they were here before, and
you guys from last month, so that was still calling old business, okay.
Yeah.
can you guys introduce yourselves again, please?
Do you want us to come up or?
Please, do it, it's okay. Actually, I'm right over way, so you guys need it. I'll just, guys, sit down. It's easy if I just move. Let everybody move.
Chair.
that chair.
Go down there.
You have your names from the last one. Let me see if I have this right. Kevin Stromsky and Stephen Roche.
I'm Kevin Stromsky.
And I'm Steve Roach. Last time we stated our addresses, I don't know if that's still relevant, but I'm at 25 Riverview Drive.
24 Withington Street.
And both Newbury residents.
Okay.
You came before the committee regarding an application for the use of the fields
Correct.
this spring.
Yep.
Your application was submitted to the town. We did not approve of it at that time,
Right.
but the paperwork was received by us
Yep.
and stamped as such. We had not made a vote on it.
Yep.
The update is, well, do you have anything to add to your comments?
Well, one, we were hoping that everyone would be here this time around, because I know that was part of the issue last month. But we just wanted to reiterate our good intentions of having this partnership work out together, and that, you know, it is only our team that we're considering here. It's not a whole slew of adult leagues. It's 6 games in a single season. And we are more than happy to work out any way that we can make this happen. We're, you know, rotating fields, of course, reiterating the zero alcohol policy, any other issues that might have come up in the past. We really want to make sure this can happen. And everyone's happy, us and the committee, and the town, of course.
And I'd just like to add that, so Kevin and I are new to taking over this team, and we've assumed co-captain's roles in organizing it so that any rules that are applicable as captains of the team, we will, you know, withstand and obey by the rules. And we understand that there could have perhaps been some issues in the past, but that has, you know, been under different management, if you will. And, you know, we're 2 residents of the town that, you know, we take pride in our, not on only our property, but we do take pride in the town's property as well. And, you know, we can assure you that, you know, we would keep it in good withstanding shape, as well as obeying by all the rules.
Well, one of my concerns is with adult leagues. This would be on a Sunday morning.
Correct.
It's a little bit different because I've worked with adult leagues in like a Thursday night. Alcohol does tend to come out. We do rent the fields very tightly to maximize its use, their uses, as well as with kids. And it was a very strong sticking point with some of our members about alcohol being around kids. And just alcohol being on the field. It is in our policy that there's no alcohol allowed unless you have a permit, and we are aware of it, but there's casual drinking afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to be in a position to, you know, second game into the season, I happen to live close by, I'm walking my dog, and oh my God, there's a party going on. It's, you know, 9:30 in the morning, to each their own, and there's drinking. And I would be reluctant to put you in the bind of, guys, you know, we made an agreement, you can't have games here. And maybe send a letter to your league about our concern. I'm sure other fields have a similar policy about no alcohol,
Sure.
about X, Y, and Z, and that if it was to become problematic, that we were in our rights to terminate, and that it's the responsibility of your league to reschedule your games. Is that clear, or is that fair?
I think what could be fair that, because obviously we can't 100% control another team that visits to play against us. We obviously can share our concerns and the rec committee's concerns and of course follow it ourselves, but we're not going to go over to a team and physically kick them out if they crack a beer or something. But we'd be open to communicating with the other teams via letter, or even if you wanted it to come from the rec committee, we could share it with the league. And we'd also be open to treating this as like a trial season, where, you know, we say, see how this season goes, and if everyone's happy and it seems like it works, then maybe continue it on, you know, if there is no issues for the time being.
Is everyone up to speed with the history of how this all went?
No, but I'm catching up.
Because we have 3 adult teams that we did not renew, not all from Newbury, from different locations.
And the
So
reason for it?
mostly was not promptly getting off the fields in time for the next users that came on, alcohol use, and then overall wear and tear on the fields, much more, the bigger the person, the more it's the make or whatever.
And something I will say is the getting off the field in time. When we had our 8 o'clock games, there was never another team waiting to get on. As the older team that started after us, and maybe the over 40 team, whatever, they started after our game was over. So I'd imagine it was conflicts with them after their game, because I don't recall ever seeing somebody wait for our field.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, in the past, it would be scheduled from, let's say, 8:30, first game, till 11 for 3 games to be completed?
I had to do the math, but
Good.
That was,
it sounds like something.
that's 3 different leagues, that's not your guys.
Right. Yeah, our
You're talking-
game would only be from 8:30 to
But-
10.
Yeah, but my
Yeah.
point being is, it couldn't be the first, could be, but you're only affecting other adults.
But there's different fields too, so like our game started at 8:30, we'd be the only ones out there. By the time our game ended, the over 40 would have started like basically halfway through our game, their game would start. And we'd be the only ones out there. Maybe lacrosse kids would start warming up by the time we left, but there was never somebody, another soccer team waiting.
To my schedule, NSU 30 had field 3, for example, from 8 to 11. And NSU North Shore United, the younger ones, had field 3 from 11 to 6. Same thing.
No, that's the youth team.
Right, so
Okay.
they came in after the North Shore 30. Then there was GT 40, I think that was one of the other towns' teams, had the field 4 from 8 to 9:45, and North Shore United would come in at 9:45 to 6. So, you know, I think that's where the tight schedule was, that, you know, maybe they had a game from 8 to 9:45 and didn't get off the field in prompt time for the next users to come in and use it.
Do you have any, with many leagues, you're allowed during your scheduling process to talk to your scheduler about specific start times or blackout dates?
Yeah, you send them the dates that you cannot use the field.
And
And
times?
you send them the start time. You say, our game started at 8 o'clock, these are the Sundays we can't use, and then their master schedule does it. I know last time we talked about trying to have our first home games later in the season,
Right.
so they have a chance to dry out and stuff, so we could put that request into
So I'm clear, you're talking about one team,
one team.
one game, 8:30 to 10? That was it.
Probably,
I would probably want to go 2-hour slot. It's a 90-minute game.
All right, so,
Yeah.
all right, so 8:30 to 10,
Might
8:30
start
to
10 minutes
10:30,
late, have 10
we
minutes
rotate the
halftime.
fields.
Yep.
You're off when you're off,
And it's,
as long as we know whatever time-wise we have, so there's no problems there. and there's no alcohol, and I'm sorry. Personally, you guys can all correct me if I'm wrong or vote different ways, but I think the alcohol, even though it's the trial period, yeah, you guys are responsible. It's your home field. All you gotta do is, you gotta abide by the rules of the other teams, when you go to their fields, they need to abide by our rules.
Sure.
Because we have kids that are gonna be around, we just, no alcohol. You wanna do it, go get lost, go someplace, I don't care. It just doesn't need to be there.
That's 100% fair and reasonable.
I mean, if you guys want to, I'm willing to be honest with you, I'm willing to approve it. Granted, everybody else is gonna have their say in a minute when we go through this. I'm willing to go with it. If no alcohol, we rotate the fields, and you guys are off on a trial basis this year. If you guys are willing to follow those 3 guidelines, and that the alcohol, again, is both teams, you're on, you're off, we rotate, we'll make sure you have your schedules. I have no problems in bringing you guys back, because it's one team, and we're just trying it out. The difference is you guys are also gonna set the expectation, because unfortunately, if you guys don't fulfill those, then you're gonna maybe ruin this for other people down the line. Or, so you guys got a lot of responsibility on yourself to do it.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of youth programs around, but we don't wanna have alcohol cans and all this stuff
Yeah,
around, so.
yeah.
That's,
100%.
again, I'm just voicing my opinion at this point, everybody else can certainly say their piece.
Celine, as the master scheduler, some of this
Take one hat.
changing of the fields, is there a way in which we could, I mean, are you receptive to it in terms of how to help make this?
It's a learning curve here. I mean,
Okay.
right now I see that there are 2 fields that were rotated between 2 different teams. We're talking about allowing 1 team in. However, I don't know what that means if we allow 1 team in.
Are we opening ourselves to other things? No,
You know,
we're doing this on a trial basis, based on
Well,
previous
and
experience.
also I do, these guys are Newbury residents versus.
That's the other reason why I won't take the extent, because
But I'm looking at 2 fields and you're saying 5 home games?
So there's probably in aggregate, call it a dozen days over the course of the year, spring and fall. So 6 games in the spring, 6 games in the fall.
So 3 games on each field.
it just kind of rotated every other week. I mean,
Well, whenever they have-
every week, so you just, you're
Every other
1, 2, 1, 2 type of thing, so you have 2-week break if you
Well,
gotta
wait,
change.
now, does that run into lineage?
Shouldn't be a problem, no.
Should not? Okay.
Feels should be
The
done.
field's are lined anyway, and you can, and at 8 in the morning, you can pick which field you want to play on at that point, because
Nobody else is there.
nobody else is there.
Sure.
And I mean, we had in, I guess it was the fall, the girls would switch from one field to the other field at halftime because the condition in front of the goal. So I don't see the fields as being a big problem. Is the league up playoffs? Is it? I mean, it's 6 games, or is it 6 games plus maybe it extends? Or
There can be an extension of playoffs.
All right.
Hopefully history changes and we're.
Playoffs.
Some teams have that, just so you know.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Around here, most teams make the playoffs.
That's a fair
We're
point.
used to in this area. So.
And I believe at max it would be a 2-game playoff.
Okay.
And then the
So-
3rd championship game is generally on a neutral turf.
Your application, I don't have it in front of me, but you mentioned a spring and a fall. Can we look at the spring as part of look at the spring? Let's,
Yeah,
if we were to vote on the spring and see that that goes
I think
well.
that's all it said on the application too, was just for spring.
And then, with cautious optimism, it's a successful season in terms of expectations met and performance. And then we can look at the fall, but I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Only other concession I would ask is, we're willing to be under the microscope like this, that if we do meet all these requirements, that it's not guaranteed, but the following, that there's no reason, no
Yeah.
foreseeable reason that we wouldn't be able to.
To be honest, I don't, if you guys fulfill the requirements that are set up, I wouldn't think there'd be any reason why you would be allowed back the following year.
Fair, yeah. And I was just gonna say something on the same lines of, if we.
You're looking for
I
some kind of guarantee almost,
Some
saying,
sort
hey,
of
we hold our end of the bargain,
$1
we hold
play
the
8
yours.
o'clock in the mornings, I understand, but, if,
Because then we're, back to a drawing board and that.
No, that's not fair to you.
The other question is, who drinks at 11:30 in the morning?
Do you want names?
Remember one thing, guys, we are being recorded.
I just,
people with kids at home and they're away from home.
yeah, I just, yeah,
I mean, you get it, but,
I
yeah.
have an application I submitted.
but yeah, we can, go somewhere else,
That's the process.
whatever, after the game.
Everybody can come back to my house.
Yeah.
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 It just-
So that's the big,
It's
that's,
easy
that's
solution.
the
As long
big
as
thing.
there's one big thing we don't have to worry about, as long as we control that,
Yeah.
and we're in such good shape.
Okay, and nobody's concerned about then all of a sudden all of these other teams are gonna come
No.
in?
Because this is a trial basis based on other things. They're all gonna have to go through the same thing. The league wants to come in after this year and say, hey, we're willing to do the same thing, then fine, but we're gonna do this one team at a time, and we're gonna get this ramped back up.
We are also changing the name of the team, so because of the confusion with North Shore United and stuff, we don't want any association with them, so we've changed the name as well, because we're the new captains, it's basically a new team, so.
Do you have a new name?
Yeah. Essex Football Club is what we,
Essex Football Club.
yeah.
There, just for,
Do we not do our due diligence and look to see if there's another team?
well, yeah, my question is there gonna be, there's an Essex Rugby, and I think there's another Essex club out in, I don't know if the Essex Rugby is called just Essex Rugby or,
Yeah, they're the Bulldogs, Essex, what is it, Essex? Is it Essex County Bulldogs or something like that? Yeah. It wouldn't be football.
You may just want to.
Okay.
I can't do
Yeah,
that.
it's-
But the football stuff,
I know football's.
We just like-
no one else is gonna take your spot right now, I'll say that much,
all
so.
right.
So
Put us in as EFC, Essex
Yeah.
Football Club.
the jersey haven't been made yet, so it's still time to change
But
again.
along the lines of Kevin speaking to there is, it is an entire rebranding process that Kevin and I are taking on. From the culture of the team to the execution of the games, et cetera. And it is something that, we do take seriously and are going to take seriously.
Any other discussions, questions?
Not here.
Okay. Well, it's just time to vote at this point. So, all those in favor of allowing on a trial basis the Essex County football,
No county.
Essex football, name to be determined, to be finalized, I should say, the ability to play 6 home games in the spring.
Well, you're just approving their
Play a season.
application on us.
Approve the application and
On a
stuff,
trial
but
basis.
on a trial basis, but, okay, leave it at that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we have the other requirements in writing so they realize that it's on the record.
So, no. Okay.
Rotating fields as predetermined by schedule,
And,
and,
Leave on time.
Time.
yeah,
Departures are,
It will be a 2-hour time slot.
8:30 to 10:30.
well, you had
Or
8
8
to
to
11,
10.
do you want 8 to 10, or?
8 to 10:30. Because the games would start at 8:30, and get there early and warm up.
Yeah.
All right, 8 to 10:30.
So that would.
I haven't broken out my
No.
Excel spreadsheet yet to start scheduling.
That's true enough. Kick off at
My
8:30.
agenda.
Right.
Yeah, you're done at 10.
Do you guys take a break in between, or is it just
Oh,
straight
that's a good
through?
point. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And if it
So, I
starts
mean, you
a
gotta
little
make sure
late,
you-
so it
We
gives
got
you- gives you
2.5
a
hours
cushion.
now, now
Gives you a
you
cushion,
have
that's all.
15 before, 15 after.
I think 2.5 is fair.
You actually got 30 before, 30 in the middle, and then you're off the field, whatever. Build in 20, however you want to do it.
Like
Base.
a cushion.
Based on that motion, are you guys acceptable to that?
Did you say the time one more time, sorry? or was it-
8 to 10:30.
Okay. Yes, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Contingent, if the rules are not met, that we have the right to terminate mid-season for any violations, an evaluation at the end, but if all criteria is met, I can't say we'll guarantee, but at that point I would say
you're a preferred
we'd
customer.
be a preferred status towards that.
Yep,
Mhm.
sounds good to us.
Okay. All is in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Ayes have it. You guys got your shot.
Wait a second.
Who motioned and who seconded?
I motioned it.
I seconded it.
Thank you.
Sorry, we have to do all these things, make sure I
I
get it.
understand.
I got it
So,
like right
thank
now,
you.
miles an
I'm
hour.
in front of my computer and I'm like,
She'll call back later, she'll just say, okay, yeah, they did this. The problem is you can go back and check the video to see who actually did it.
Sure, I seconded
So I'm not sure if this is the right arena for this. but-
Is this new business, something new, or?
No, I'm looking
Because
for
it's saying, 'cause we,
They want a food truck.
education on next steps that I need to do to make sure that I hold up my end of the garden with regards to final application, payment, etc.
Applications filed.
Okay?
we've got to finalize.
And it's better getting the deposit checks in. We'll get back to you on.
Yeah, we still have time for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
It was just if we need to look for another field, we want to get this
Yeah, we will.
figured
Well,
out.
right now, like I said, as long as you guys do what you need to do on your end, we should be all set.
And you'll let me know what dates you need a home field.
Yeah, now that we know this, once we register our team, I guess first would be letting us know if there's any blackout dates. I think that would be the next step for scheduling is letting us know if there's any dates that we can't.
Blackout Sundays? No.
Well, possibly Kentucky weekend, we're,
We'd still probably like to keep that open Memorial Day weekend.
well, there's a conversation to have about that.
I think that might even be a weekend that there's no games for
Yeah,
us.
most-
anyway.
most-
Because you did the
Going
first
away.
4 weeks of May last year. And then 2 weeks in June. We only did 6 weeks last year. I don't have April. Did you start in April?
Now there was a delay.
Last year was super wet, so
Yeah.
I think we were delayed 2 weeks, and we had to do a makeup game. So I think we would have had another game or something like that, but we ended up having to play
She
somewhere
might not
else.
have put it in the schedule.
Yeah.
So, there's only 6 weeks there, you're not, you got, well, 6 consecutive weeks at home, you'll be bouncing between, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will
Yeah,
work out the
that's okay.
scheduling between our schedule and your scheduler.
June.
You said you have 12 games?
I'm gonna pull up last year's.
I'm just to say, because I'm going, April, May, and June alone, there's your 12 weeks, give or
Yeah.
take 11 or 13, depending what you're looking at, but, and then you take 1 weekend out for Labor Day weekend.
yeah.
That's, you'd have to use April or July unless you're using one or the other.
July's when we rest the fields.
Okay.
I don't have April schedule, so I don't.
We'll come up with the details about the
Yeah,
next.
Get us a schedule, what you're looking at, and we can go from there, but right now, the only blackout date that we're aware of is Memorial Day.
So last season, the spring ran from April 10th through, we'll chop the playoffs off, June 19th.
Oh, really? Right, through June 19th. Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, just for my own purposes, when I start doing the scheduling soon, because nothing's really come in, so I haven't been too concerned about it. But we're gonna start with the month of April. We're not gonna really book anything prior to April.
No.
No, when I talked to James and looking at past history and drainage and all that, there's no way, unless there's an extraordinary dry winter, that the fields are going to be anywhere close to being ready in March.
So for my, as far as
Purposes.
I'm concerned, it's April through
Yes.
October, really. That's-
Okay. Well, and I will keep you posted as to, as well as the group, in terms of the use of the field. Once we start getting closer to that time, we'll work with James at DPW, find out when we can open up the fields. Many, well, I should say, try to use lacrosse. Girls will use their 2 blackout dates for the first week in April and do their first 2 games away someplace.
We might do something similar.
And that way there's a greater likelihood of not having to reschedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, just another, so I'm the banker for the team here. What's the rough estimation on cost expectations? Because we're in the process of socializing to the group, the all-in cost to join the football club.
What was last
Even as
year?
a metric of last year, what was last year's cost, or what's the ballpark I should expect?
Outside user was, based on this number of hours, times 50? Or is it number of people?
The number of people.
Again, it's going to
This is
be
the gray
something about
area.
Okay.
new areas.
Sorry, I don't have copies.
So it's just saying here, it's a fee schedule, so this is outside users, they're not part of the town, of course, so you have number of players times $50 equals that. and that was based on the season. And again, this is part of the thing we're looking at. I would just look more towards a game situation than an
For
individual.
an outside user, it's number of hours, not number of participants.
Well,
Okay,
again,
oh,
this
number of
is-
hours, so 2 hours, 2.5 hours, times 50, times, how many games, 6? So,
Fastest on my phone.
750.
2.5 times.
I think in the past, it was like $600, but in that ballpark, certainly under 1,000, and we'll come up with a better, more accurate number, but yes, for your planning purposes.
Gives you a ballpark idea.
Yeah,
We're
that's
looking at.
perfect.
We're trying to rebuild relations with a lot of the groups as well, and try to make sure things work, but we still have people we have to report to regarding the finance and stuff, so,
I get it.
yes.
The question is, since you're using the field, and normally Triton used to cross lines them, is that correct?
I don't think it's enough for this, for soccer.
Okay.
I don't think so. We'll
Is-
find out.
Scott hired by North Shore United to line the
All
soccer
those
fields?
fields, yeah. But then trying to use soccer lines the fields.
Somebody's not very
One
accurate.
field.
I don't know who does it, but someone's not very accurate, but we still like playing there.
The idea is you're using fields that somebody else has lined, and
Yeah.
we'll figure out details to.
Yeah.
you know.
And I was honest, last time, if whoever's working on the application, you guys are saying you're redoing it, if they want to ping me on some notes on it as being a
Absolutely.
customer, or
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share
Yeah.
what I would add to it to make it easier. for
Add or
somebody.
take?
Yeah, exactly.
Feedback,
I think
feedback.
Yeah,
Whether
Yeah,
it's whether it's
feedback would be
positive,
great.
negative, then we get an
We're under
idea.
a timeline to get this, if we're gonna change it for this year, this
We-
spring,
Yeah, we
we
gotta,
need to do it like within the next month.
by the February meeting.
a couple of things. Let's bring closure to
Yeah,
these gentlemen. Thank you very much for your.
thank you guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate you hearing us out.
Any feedback?
Yeah.
I'll give you my email address.
Thank you for the opportunity and allowing us the chance to do it.
Well,
I will see you at 8 o'clock in some mornings.
8 o'clock.
you guys are one carrying the ball now, pardon the pun, but you do the right job, things get done the right way, then we're in good shape.
And that message will be shared with everyone else.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
To be honest with you, we want you guys to succeed. We want to make this bigger, we want to do it right. Unfortunately, we had to start over to get it done that way.
You got it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Phil.
guys.
Take
Nice
care.
to meet you guys, thank you. Good.
What else for old business?
All right, updates on,
Signage was another one.
yep, let me go right down. We had talked about the fire department having the fire chief, Nathan Walker, come in and talk to us about what his fee structure is, why he has it, and he's been invited. He'll let us know when he can make it.
Okay.
Generally, the cost for Pentucket is an issue of whether they can leave the station empty when such a large event is going on. Trying to figure out what the exact number is, that threshold, if it's 5 games with 10 kids, and he's saying what the number is so we can help we can plan better. They are also receptive to the ice, creating a pond up on the field. I don't know if we can have enough time to do it this year, but the idea, as I floated out before, is a skating rink up at Mantor Field for winter use, obviously. And I don't know if anyone has any contacts with Triton Youth Lacrosse, bring them in as a partner, see if we can't build. Triton Youth Soccer, hockey. Yeah, those guys.
That's been
And,
fun, yeah.
and the idea is to, if we can't do it this year, certainly for next year, but I think there might be time.
What did you say?
I said there are already people skating over at Quill Pond on A Street.
Well, again, the idea, when I was talking to Nate, is one rescue is too many. If somebody falls through a pond or stuck pond or
So the
whatever.
fire department is more
Well, they will help if they can maybe fill it up and help.
So then, our rake is more appealing to them than people's being on pond, is that what you're saying?
A pond has hard access. Yes, from a perspective of ice safety, a 1 foot surface of water that's frozen versus a pond you can't get your equipment to, absolutely.
So structurally, how does this have to be built?
It would be, from my understanding, 2 by 10, 2 by 12s that are boarded up together, secured. Some people put a liner in to hold water, but
Where they gonna put it in the field?
not they, we.
So we'd have someone build,
We would be, again, maybe partnering with the hockey. We would have to determine this. The idea is, one of the biggest concerns is putting the water in and maintaining it. Talking to people up at Amesbury is, they have a nice setup, but nobody wants to shovel it, nobody wants to take care of it. Well, if the ponds get a couple feet of snow, nobody's gonna shovel it and they're useless. But if we design it so that DPW can go up with their truck and done, or we can walk up with a blower and it's done, it makes it that much easier. Again, if we recruit a team or an organization that have more interest in it than,
I think it's a great idea, I just don't know if we can get it done well this year, as you said before.
well, it's a matter of somebody taking it and running with it, and talking to.
The idea, Sean and Triton.
And see if we can get one up that is,
We give us
Yeah.
athletic corner?
Yeah. I have no problem going to talk to him, but
Wait a
I'll
minute.
see him on Friday, so I can talk to him, but,
I don't think it'll happen this year, that's the thing.
Why would you try to do hockey and Sean McGinnis are two separate
yeah.
Okay, well,
entities?
It's trying, there's Bruce Irving's, he's one of the coaches coach, Mark Sullivan is one of
And
the
where
coaches.
on the field are you planning on, or were you thinking of?
It would be a matter of discussing it before going too far with Nate to see if they could bring a tanker, where they could bring a tanker, or there's a hydrant not too far away.
Because we can't do it on any of the fields, right?
Well, that'd be a question to be asked. I mean,
because you're putting a truck, you're gonna have to wheel something out there to get it. Granted, if something fell down there in the middle of the field, but you're talking about, I don't know if it'll kill the grass or not. That'd be a good question to James.
I'll ask around, because we got enough friends that build rinks in their house.
I mean, there's one down at the academy. I know there's another one up the street, even closer to Triton, that they've done for
It's
years.
the, I can't think of their names.
D'Angelo's.
D'Angelo's.
So
The
this,
Marlins have one in front of there, so I'll ask, because the biggest question I would have is,
what's it do with the grass?
what's it, yeah.
That's my biggest concern. Because to be honest with you, if we could do something out on the field without it ruining anything, that'd be huge, because we could then put a decent sized one out there, maybe
But
even
it's
put
not
two.
only the rink, it's everything around the rink. People
It's a-
sitting around, putting on their skates, eating. I would prefer to put it in
It's-
an area if there's a.
why does
Wait.
why does it need to be put on grass?
Oh, it doesn't, it
It
could be,
doesn't, it could be on the gravel of the
Yeah.
parking lot, yeah.
If the ground's frozen,
Yeah, because usually you build those sides and you put a large amount of water, but there's tendency to,
oh well.
yeah, they
so
usually
you
kind
have
of,
to-
they kind of buckle the corners down.
Yeah.
you have to really
Stake 'em,
stake them in,
yeah.
stake them in
And
hard.
we have to
Yeah.
put a liner on too, that's the other part of it.
Yeah.
But we get an idea of what it costs, at least,
I'll talk,
something, again, this is not something we're gonna do this year, we certainly have more than enough on our plate, we have to get this, the field house done more than anything.
Well,
But
again,
it's an excellent idea, it's, I mean, Mark, you've been coming up with ideas left and right, which is great. It's
I'll
just-
ask
ask him to, the maintenance I know is a pain in the neck, because you're right, when it snows. But if it snows and it's in your own, like the Parlins, it's in their front yard.
Yeah,
Obviously, he just takes a snowblower out there, or he makes his kids do it.
I'll be honest, with you, I've gone to the pond, those guys are out there shoveling, have no problems with it, if they wanna play, they're out there doing
Dig it
it.
out.
well, how many of us grew up?
Yeah.
That's what you did.
I was on the Mal Newbury all the time, I didn't skate, but I was out there all the time, having fun.
Do you, is there a liability for that, for the town?
We just let Tracy know and you put it, we touch the MIA and figure out what needs to be done. Attractive nuisance, but if it's on the policy, we're good.
So you're gonna.
So before the next meeting, we'll get some details on
Okay.
cost, maintenance, impact on the Although I like the idea of putting it on the gravel if you could.
That'd be easy to do.
I haven't walked over to the field in a very long time to even get a perspective, now that the new septic is in, like what are the areas that are open? You've got your fields, you've got the building, you've got the septic.
We're gonna
Is
have
there
to have
any
parking.
area left that's relatively large and flat?
At this time of year, without the building being occupied, there's the area closer to the field where at some point we're gonna have our handicap parking spaces. But somewhere along that field, that first row, closest to the fields, we could easily put in
What about on the other side of the field house?
we
In
could.
between the septic and the field house, is that a large enough area? Like I said,
Just
I
depends on
haven't
slope.
walked.
This is, should we plan to get over there for Saturday or Sunday in the light, considering we're not gonna get sunlight again, and have to work till April?
It's an extra half an hour today already.
Wow. So 4:30, is it 4:30?
Yeah, but by February 1st, I believe it's 5 o'clock, it starts to set.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry, I
maybe
gotta get
take
home
a
as
look,
close as 6 as I work it out.
The expenses for it, if we could get a few donations of the lumber, we could rally some. Again, I think a big partner, because they have a large population of qualified men and women to come in and say, all right, bring your drills, bring this, let's set it up. And the next day the fire department can come in and hose it down.
Just as long as it's a space has been picked out for it. I
Yeah,
guess
you
that's
know,
the
that-
problem.
and that's what we need to do, is we need to pull James or pull someone in to say, this is what we're looking at,
Yeah.
would this work, and are we okay with it?
Because
How
it has to
big
be-
is a ring? How big of a
It
ring?
wouldn't
As big
be,
as
it
you
wouldn't
want,
be,
right?
it's not a real ring size, which is bigger than a football field. But you're talking,
Size of this room? Roughly, right?
well, it's.
Depends.
We can make it
like
any
a
size
mini
we
rink
want.
type of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A regular hockey rink is like,
Oh, no, no,
Down
I
there,
mean,
down here,
what,
so-
what you would put up would be like the size
So-
of this
something
room.
like.
yeah, maybe part of the next conference, but not much more.
Yeah.
And
It's
the
just
idea-
like-
yeah.
Usually
The idea is to
75
get
by-
us, if we could get Triton youth hockey involved,
Yeah.
that might be, hey, on Monday and Wednesday afternoons, you guys get exclusive rights to. Tuesdays and Thursdays, free skate, so there's not that fight over it.
Yeah.
You know, this is happening here. You have it Wednesday, and they could help schedule the use of it, so they get use of it, because they're maintaining it. People in town get to use it just to like pick up.
That or open skate type of thing if they want to do. I feel bad when they take away from the graph rink or the local public rinks, but
It's free.
it's free, it's another thing for the town. That gives us something, that gives us some credibility with the town as well in that regards.
There are a
It'd
number.
be great if we had a basketball court where we could put the poles down in the corner of the baskets, and literally, that's our stake for the
I
thing.
want to do that basketball.
I do too, I'm all
Well,
over that.
that's under new business, because I remember back in 2010, some,
Still don't have the money.
there are some people
Try to use
who,
basketball, give it back too.
well, can we get to that new business?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so let's.
But I'm just saying, it's
so
something
you
that,
talk
you could put
about
that in the
hockey.
field, and then literally you'd have the size of your ice rink, and you'd have everything staked out, if you could put, you can call
Now,
it.
there's an idea.
So you have your basketball court, you have the stakes in the corner, cap them, and all you do is pull the caps up, put the rink down, it's it's a 47 by 90, 94 by 47
Yeah.
size thing, and literally, there you're done, your court's all tied up, and then you're done, pull it back up, put it away, basketball court's back, and ready for the season. Dual purpose. Mark starts and I just usually finish it, or I'll add to it, then he'll finish
Okay,
it.
so anyways, that's what's going on even as we speak. So, Patrick, could you talk to somebody, I will reach out to Mark Sullivan.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the Triton Hockey guys.
And I'll tell Mark lives over on Fatherland.
Oh, okay,
And I'll talk to Bruce Irving as well.
okay.
And if
I'll
you talk to a few of their other people,
Yep.
we can see if we can't make this
Yeah.
happen.
Yep.
Again, if it can be this year and get a month out of it, I mean,
It's supposed to be cold as hell for the next, except for Thursday and Friday of this week, and then,
well,
No, they're talking tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday is supposed to be 40s to 50s.
yeah.
A little cool in the morning, but it's supposed to start going up and whatever that. So everything we have is gonna pretty much melt,
Yeah.
and then it'll get cold again.
Yeah, a couple of days, and then it's going back up again next week, so.
okay. Byfield Arts, Heidi Fran has invited us to one of their meetings, looking at trying to maximize or coordinate an event with them at their Bible Music and Arts event. For example, if we were to work with them and a balloonist, if we were to bring in a balloonist to go up, and it usually costs about $1,000, you put 5 people in the balloon at $20 each, they go up for 50, 60, 80 feet, they get a good view, assume it's a nice day, come down. The other ideas we threw out is a disc golf tournament. So people go there, play disc golf, they might get a discount going to the festival, or
This
they
is
get
all the same weekend of the festival.
actually the same day. So bringing more people to their event by utilizing our fields. And so Heidi will contact me about their meeting. Does anybody want to go?
Depends on what it
Let me
is.
put it out there. I will email when it is. The canoe launch. I've met with a number of people. They're very interested in doing it. Tracy's going to give you the name of the person at Fish and Wildlife who helps coordinate this for the town, so we have good access. I've walked the field with the conservation officer who is supportive of it, to people at the Parker River Clean Water Association. A very doable project. I've asked them for what numbers in their path, and we can move that forward, and we just fill out the paperwork. And there's a number of people in the community who have approached me about this as well, sort of as a way of recognizing some people in the community who are avid, who are no longer with us, who are avid canoe people. The Pentucket. President Bob Smith, who is the new president and coordinator, it is true that they're looking at bringing it to Pipestave, as it is an overall less expensive endeavor. However, it would be significantly smaller. We're trying to figure out what number they need. They do it as a fundraiser for their high school lacrosse teams, as their school budget does not support their teams. So the team looks for them for X number of dollars every year. As we may or may not know, in years past, the rec committee did not charge them $5,000 for the 2-3 days, because in case it was a rain day, and that was the end of it. And maybe a police. Well, the police is asking for more coverage, provide safety, and the fire department is asking for enough to supply 2 EMTs, even though the argument was that there's athletic trainers available. The big question they had was, if we need transport from this large event where there are a lot of people congregated, it does take the vehicle out of the station, and now it's empty and has to be covered elsewhere. So the question really comes to the committee is, how much are we willing to negotiate, for lack of better terms, determine what a fair price is for the field for that weekend, and how we can, if we want to maintain them. Or do we just say, thank you, and try to find another vendor? And it's $5,000 that comes out of our budget, and we can
Well,
replace
the
it.
department's gonna come out anyway if we reduce the number, so.
Well, there's a big difference between 2,000.
Yeah, I think 3 is the number.
What's that?
I think 3,000 is the number.
Based on what we have been paying for the field, other people have been paying for the fields, it's about $1,000 a day.
And does that account for the police and fire?
No, that would be a separate.
So if we charged, last time, correct me if I'm wrong, we charged them 5, but then they got hit on top of both of those. We charge them for 3, then they get hit on top of both those. But the thing is, they didn't realize it until it was well into the event, for crying out loud, before it happened. Knowing now, we can coordinate with the police and the town and the fire to say, here's what we're looking at, so we can then all look together and say, okay, it's gonna cost this, it's gonna cost that, and here's ours, and then we can try to keep the number more reasonable for them, for that $5,000 fee, then at least we know we're in the ballpark. They
Question,
want to pay 5, but they don't want to pay.
I don't know what the new cost are for the police and fire. I know when Chief Lieutenant Deputy Lucy was here, it was what, $75 an hour?
4-hour minimum.
4-hour minimum, which is not a problem because it's gonna be 8 to 4, 8 to 5 is what it's been. And they usually throw in,
Well, they're 4-hour blocks usually, so it'd be 8 hours.
Remember that year was an unusual year.
Yeah, because of the
Because of the
buses,
septic
yeah.
system and the
Yeah.
buses. That's a non,
well, we're looking at,
so hopefully whatever they were charged for police detail will be reduced.
Plus, if we have them all parked at Triton and we shuttle them back and forth and have the
They
walkway.
won't need,
right, the transportation is not a concern at this
they
juncture.
won't park at Trenton.
Okay, that's fine.
If you look at 2 days from 8 in the morning to 4 at night, that's 8 hours a day for 2 days is 16. At $75 per person
$500.
per hour,
1,200.
that's $1,200, and that's pretty close to what they were paying for one. Some of the officers volunteered their time because of their commitment to the event. Now, with the fire department, I think it's $56, about $100 to have two. So that is 16 hours, that's 1,600 there. And last year they comped the vehicle.
So that's $2,900 in fees right there.
That, right.
We have to try to find a way to realistically, if we charge 3, and we can get the other 2 to do it for $1,000 a piece, or some combination of that to get us under 2 a piece. I think they take it because they're getting everything they need for the same price they were getting last year for the fee. But we gained a lot of good faith in it too.
My understanding is it's really not negotiable their rate because of union contracts and all that kind of stuff. That here's the fee, they're not gonna start making a new, I know the fire department with their application, it's $56 an hour, period. So one of my questions is, do we say we will work with you and whatever the difference is between fire and police, the total for the town of Newbury is $5,000 as it has been, so we maintain it?
What about it cost, I mean, don't things sometimes generally go up a little bit? It's been $5,000 for 10 years?
So was it 5,000 plus those?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
They were starting at close to $1,000 in the home. Yes, things did go up, but looking at the cost of things in the past, there didn't seem to be any rationale and then brought forward to us about, well, some people might say 5 fields, but when anybody else rents the field, Circus Marcus, Byfield Arts, nothing else is scheduled, so you're basically getting the whole field. So it was $5,000 for 2 days with a possible rain day. And it might be, here's where we start, and then let's talk about next year so we maintain it. And some of this is, and I'm working with Bob and looking at ways in which to generate more income to offset some of the costs. Some of their challenge was they got hit with a almost $3,000 bill. Oh, actually, it was more than that because I forgot the busing bill that they did not account for. And that was sort of like, wait a second, we expected the 5, but not the following.
No, I get that.
So
but you couldn't put it forward and say, it's 3,000 for the fields, and then this is what our fire and this is what the police is gonna be on top of that, or do you think that's gonna push them away from it?
I guess what my question is, it could. And my conversation, look, it is a big endeavor. For the amount of money they generate, most of their money is from concessions. They lost a big sponsor in Institution for Savings. So what had been an ongoing event is becoming harder for them to generate money for their school. Now, what people do with the money they generate is none of my business. But the bottom line is they're looking at their costs, is it cheaper for them to hold a smaller event there which means no revenue here, and I don't want to quite use the word iconic, but this kind of, many people have grown up. This is what you do Memorial Day weekend. You look forward to it. And to say, no.
Is it 2 days with the option of a third, or is it always the whole weekend?
My experience has been it's Saturday and Sunday. Monday's reserved for a rain day.
Yeah.
If we could get an idea of somehow a budget from the police and the fire to say, this is what we're looking at for this, what would you tell us it would be? Take that number again, we're using the numbers we have here. So if we're saying it's $2,200, or what did I say, was it 28? What was it, was it 12 and 16 or?
28.
28. So if we did $6,000, it's less than you paid last year, we get 32, the rest of the town gets the stuff for the 28 for the 2 events, and we build some rapport back with them to get that taken care of. If we wanted to change with that, but I don't think, if we went any higher than 6, I don't think they'd bite.
I don't even know if they'll fight at 6.
Yeah.
But it seems very frustrating that to run an event like this, you have to spend more on the police and fire, nothing against them, but than you are leasing the
The
field.
field themselves.
The fields need to be cleaned up. Who does the cleanup?
That comes out of the fee.
When you say cleanup, walking fields, pick up the garbage?
All of it. Whatever part of it needs to be done, whatever, to put the fields back in.
Trash removal, I mean, all the trash goes into the things that the bins we have that we pay mellow, but the actual field cleanup is, I've never been to an event, so I have no idea.
It's usually left pretty good. They've done it in the past. And that'd be part of the contract, is the fields are left in usable condition.
I'll have to see
You know,
what we
even
want.
hold a deposit if need be to assure that that happens. But the idea is, well, a couple of things. What is the number that we want to use? How much do we want to work with this to ensure this happens? Or do you just say, here's a number and that's it? The other question is, one possible way to raise additional funds was to have preferred parking. I don't know if anybody here has ever been to this event, but I do know the police and the neighbors are adamant about no parking on Central Street. And some of the neighbors on Fatherland and School Street going down are like, don't park in my driveway, don't park in my lawn. So they're gonna be a little bit more vigilant about ticketing. The parking lot that is up to the building is about 200 spots as it is. One way to generate funds, and I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm throwing it out there, because we sort of have to deal with any possible repercussions, is along the first row of 60, 70, maybe the first 2 rows. That people can have preferred parking, it's close, you can come and go type thing, and you pay a small extra fee. Everybody else is free. If you want to park further down and save
But you may not be able to get in there either. But when you pay for the preferred, you have a spot for the day,
Right.
for the 2 days. You pay $10 for those 70 spots, or 50 spots, whatever you want to do, number. You have parking or $10 a day. So for $20, you can, if you're in there, that's your spot. Anybody takes your spot, the person will be towed.
No, that's not the model I was looking at. The model is, we're reserving these spaces, you preferred parking, take one preferred spot, not individual spot. But somewhere in this bank of 50, 60, whatever, however, it is coordinated that there is a special area with the caveat, these funds are not for us. Because I don't want people saying the rec committee's charging to park, because we're not. It would go, Pentucket is charging. So the question really is, would we be okay with having them ask people if they want to pay a small fee to use the parking here versus free parking over there?
So we're in no way running it or?
No, we're not managing anything. If there's any complaints or
But
anything.
they make sure that
Yeah.
this money, the money's collected, preferred parking is dedicated to Pentucket.
That's
Of
their,
course.
they rent the facility for the day.
Yeah.
It's up to them to figure out how they want to manage it.
As long as it goes back to the same position it came when it left, that's all I care about.
What exceptions?
Well, I think if somebody ran an event and started charging parking without us knowing about it, without the public understanding that we're not charging it, the perception would easily become, the rec committee is charging to park at the field. And I would want to make sure that that is not the case.
Right, yeah, no, but we're leasing them the facility, and if they want to do preferred parking on their event,
They would say,
But I mean-
Their job to maintain it.
Yeah, they would make an extra $500 or whatever and that could be like a caveat for those groups to come in.
just throwing out a number, I think $12.50 a day is kind of being somewhat, trying to keep us a little bit whole, but also trying to
So,
compromise.
yeah.
I mean,
What do you
So
mean?
$12.50 a day, but then make the third day $5. Like because we can't, if they reserve it if they pay for the 3 days, right, but they really only use it for 2 because they don't need it on Monday, it's not like somebody else can come in there and use it.
Whatever day that it's raining, if they use it Monday because it's raining Sunday, nobody else is going to be using it.
Right, nobody else can be
But
using it.
what if they have the event on Saturday? And then they
Saturday.
start Sunday, and then it rains, and they have to stop, and they want to use Monday for the rest of the day. They should be, you're talking $1,250 for one day, $1,250, and then $500 for the extra day, just to lock it in.
Yeah.
Then
I
it's-
don't know if that's, what do we do with other sports when they have to reschedule something? I mean, basically, the
So-
premise has been they get the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
So I don't think we
That's-
should
that-
change that.
Right.
just apply, then just do, you get $3,000 for the weekend.
I was looking, I'm okay with 25, but if it's gonna.
Yeah, I'm thinking, to me, it was 25 is like 1,000 for each day and then 500 to reserve
Oh,
that
okay.
spot for your extra day. Because you're right, I mean, on the one hand, if they have beautiful Saturday, beautiful Sunday, so they play all their games, and a beautiful Monday, nobody's using the field because it's locked up because they paid for it, but nobody's gonna be able to use the field whether we got
Yeah.
500 or leave. And if they have rain, no one's gonna use the field anyway when it's raining, so. But for them, it's, they'd be paying, if we said $1,000 a day, no matter what, then they're paying $1,000 for a beautiful day that they're not using the field at all, so 1,000 for each.
All right, so 2,500 for the weekend, compared to the 5,000 they were paying before. I said,
What did we charge the arts? They were $1,000 a day, right? Or $1,000 for the event?
Originally, it was, when I first started, they had, as we spoke, as you had alluded to earlier about fee schedules, they were given an option of like X number of dollars per ticket, like $1 per ticket, or $10 a ticket, and if it went over a certain amount, they would pay a bigger fee. Their deposit was for $500, and as a total, I believe, it was going to be $1,000 for the day.
So we're being consistent here.
We're relatively consistent. It's not as much wear and tear on the fields there.
Right, but nobody else uses the facilities, except that we know we have the option for that. But
We have the option, and we're trying to coordinate so that we bring people in. I think this number is workable. It does make it just over 5 for, in general.
53.
Which is still less than what they paid last year.
Yeah.
By far. They paid
Uh,
5, they paid 5 to us,
Yeah.
and then they paid the fees for the 3. Now they're talking 2, and
who
then
lines the fields for the games?
They do.
So we do nothing, except mow the lawn.
Mow the lawn that Friday before,
collect the check.
or Thursday. I'll coordinate with James and Bob.
And I think on a year-by-year basis, like, let's see what happens this year and then revisit it next year.
And maybe start incrementing. Again, part of their problem was, right now, I think they charge $265, $285 per team. And if they were to increase it by $10,
15, round it up to 300.
and you have
And we get some of that.
40 teams at different ages, well, there's some serious money.
We're getting
But we
pushed.
want to, but
We're just getting the field.
I'm just in the field, they're making the money on the teams.
Yeah, but that's the whole part of the fundraiser. If they got, how many teams were in the tournament?
40.
40?
Well,
$300
like
thing?
the code of 46, but officials, it's about $75 per game per official.
If you did 300, there's 12 grand. 53 comes to us, leaving you 62.
Then they have to pay for officials.
If you're officials, but then again, if you charge the parking, you can pick up some money there, but I don't know what the officials are charging, whatever, but you still should be able to make out. You're 62, you spend what, grand? 1,500 on officials, you still are.
It's 75, assuming you have one head official per game. I think there's like 40-something games, 50 games,
That's 20, that's $3 grand right there.
something like that. Basically, the numbers that were presented to me were basically
Each team pays 3 games, and there's 40 teams. You've got
each team plays 4 games,
No,
2 each day.
what? 7 nothing else.
So we're playing. You do Andover, North Andover and Pentucket, Newburyport, and
Then you
Travel.
have teams playing each other, so let's say you have 20 teams, because you have 40 teams, they play each other, that's the same game, times 4 games is 8 games total, over that whole weekend.
and how many teams was,
That's based on 40 teams.
how many games?
80
80.
games.
$75.
per official.
You guys are calculating that out. It's like,
How
They
much
have
is
more
it?
than one official
I
per
just
game.
want to say it was
Yeah, for the,
$5,600.
For the older
80
kids,
games times $75 a game, no, for the official?
Yeah.
Wow.
because you have 2 officials.
$6,000.
You're already in the hole of concessions. Concessions, you make any kind of money, but everything else.
well, what they do is they rent out, my understanding is they may have a couple of vendors come in to do a bouncy house,
Sell lacrosse gear.
sell lacrosse gear and games and stuff, and then they have the food. The food comes in cheap because they get donations for that, they get, I mean.
I'm just sitting there going, the cost of the field, cost of the field, the fire, the police,
Well,
the officials, you're at a wash. If you're doing $300 a person, $300 a team, 12 grand, that alone just washes it out evenly.
Yeah.
I
So
think
this-
it's a bucket too.
This is not a big money generating event for them, for a lot of headache.
Yeah.
But they also realize this is a tradition, not just in terms of money that they give to their customers, but
We want it because we want the money for the field. If not, it sits vacant for a weekend, and it's like, no, we're out $5 grand, and, or in no case, 3 at this point. I said, what do we do?
if they don't take it, we would find people who would take it. There are a couple of groups that have expressed interest in it.
Okay.
They wouldn't be able to pay $5 grand.
Did they pay 25 or 3?
Well, we were going down to $3 grand already.
Hey, I'm right there with you, in terms of, here's a decent amount, and there's something we could get through this year, and then help them.
What's that said? If you put in $6 grand, including fire and police,
We're not responsible for that. I think we should just,
our field.
our field
Okay.
see and let them worry about the fire.
Yeah.
So I'm,
So what
Keep us
was,
happy, that's fine, no problem.
We were at 2,500, right?
Yeah.
we're basically half price.
So it's not 3, it's 25, you guys are saying?
Yes.
2 a day, or
Thousand,
grand a day
thousand,
plus
five.
at 500 sort of guaranteed.
Can, I think it might be easier to just say it's 25 for the weekend.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, well, we don't want Monday, but we really do, but we don't want to. And we're, oh, if Monday's only 5, we'll use Saturday and Monday. This is in lieu of the credit that we did offer them in our earlier sessions. Remember, we
Yes.
gave them credit for their,
what was that credit?
it was about $900.
So now you're talking, now they're gonna raise the check at $1,600.
No,
No,
this
this
is,
is.
Oh, okay,
This is-
we're reducing the fee we're gonna eat that $900, so really within $3,400.
No,
no, we're not gonna credit them anything.
We're not gonna credit them.
So it's
And we're reducing,
$2,500.
and we're reducing the fee in half.
Right.
So we should set this your whole.
Our whole is not having, is $2,500
Yeah.
and not making it 16.
Yeah.
That's our whole, and,
Well, there's different ways to look at money.
yeah.
The example I give to my daughters is if the $200 coat's on sale for 50%, how much money did you save?
Yeah.
Saved nothing, because you still spent money. The reverse is true here.
We're not spending, it's not costing us $900 to give back to them.
It's not
And-
costing us, we are
and we're
still
gonna-
making $2,500.
Yes.
We are putting, and that's the bottom line,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
So in essence, I would like to say we're actually making 34, because we're not giving up the 9 either. But that's, there.
But that was,
I know what you're talking about.
anyway, so I'm authorized to go back to Pentucket and say, we'd like to work with you for this year. We'd like to make this rate, understanding the current economic situation. And then next year, next year we will revisit this number. But here are some ideas if we want to, try preferred parking, as long as you made it clear to your
Patrons.
users that you are getting the fees and not Detroit and not
Down Newbury.
Town of Newbury.
And
Is
then
that-
also, they're in charge of police and fire.
And that's,
Yeah.
that'll be part of the application, that's gonna go on.
So that's your motion, Mark? I second it.
Is it some, yeah, we're voting on it?
Yes.
Sure.
Motion to what?
Go to Pentucket and say what he just said.
Allow them to use the field for the Memorial Day weekend
Offer.
for $2,500.
I know.
Sorry, it
It's not
was humorous.
my face.
No, just the banter.
Motion to allow Kentucky to use.
You know what the town's gonna do when they see these videos?
I was at a selectmen meeting in Beverly last year, 2 years ago. My parents all day were there trying to get a date. I got up there and the
So you
selectmen
motioned
said, we should really motion this one and approve this one.
I second it. What, no,
I shouldn't motion my own thing, so.
No, you made the motion.
All right, I made the
He
motion.
motioned, I second it. So what was it?
And we all,
I approved.
Yes, we all approved, aye.
So one of the selectmen did something, he said,
Okay.
we really should approve this motion.
Going
because,
forward,
We want a date ball out of this town. I could also take off right afterwards.
I would also like to ask Pentucket to give a decision by a particular date. We will discuss it at the next meeting, so that,
By March, the March meeting.
well, so that we can
Plan.
plan accordingly.
Alternate plans.
And that they can go ahead with whatever their decision is, but this is what we'd like to offer them. Here we go. Other signage. Met with building inspector and others regarding the signage that has been asked. I'm trying to get John to get a better sense of what our users are asking. Because John was referring to the Aries Field sign, and the one that I saw at Aries Field in Raleigh stands about at the top height, about 4 feet off the ground, granite post, round sign saying Aries Park, and around it is the different teams that use it. What I was visioning and talking to some townspeople about, that would you be able to submit to the town selectmen for approval 1 of 2 miles. One of the signs would be potentially from GPS, their logo, which I may have here, big board, proud home of, and give it to them, this big logo. And another one the other idea was a sign that stands about the same height as the other sign, about 8 foot or so. About 4 by 6, 4 by 8 or something of that nature, probably bigger than that. Mimicking what is already there, that would say Manfred Field, and this would be something we use on any of our properties that we have jurisdiction over. So it'd be a consistent sign from for the town, so it's not different each place. Something to the effect of Mantra Fields with the town logo, town of Newbury, or some type of board of that, and places underneath for who are the users. So if,
I thought we had agreed to that
Yes.
model as.
what I'm confirming, because the other one was a bigger sign, but that's what I talked to them about. Okay. So that if the Boston Ultimate Disc Association used our fields regularly, we'd have a plaque saying their name. I want to make sure that everybody is up on board with that.
Yep.
In terms of that kind of signage versus temporary signage, which are, if we were to talk to our users, that perhaps they could use day signs, something that are about the size of, say, this table, that's made out of vinyl that they could hang in the ground, or a banner, that they could sell up to so many square feet of signage.
I'm just concerned about anything that's gotta be, it's permanent, it's gotta be something that can be changed and we can do, as long as we do that,
Well,
that's fine.
two different things. One is the permanent sign, the slats in the middle would be removable, so whoever comes and goes, but secured so people can't just take them, can say Triton Youth Lacrosse, Triton Youth Soccer,
Essex Football Club.
Essex Football Club, so people know it.
I like I'd like to keep the aesthetics of the field a little bit in check. And so your second idea where, people can have banners and sell ad space on the banners, to me, it starts going down a little bit of a slippery slope aesthetically, how that would, we don't have an infield to post the banners on. I can kind of envision that in base, that's just my personal opinion. I like the first idea better, which is similar to what was done in Raleigh.
It's not an either or. One is, here's this, and I got ahead of myself. So one is the permanent one, and that's why it was important for John and Stephanos as one of the users to be on board with this before we go too far down the road. So I will continue with that. Would you be able to meet with Tracy?
Yeah. Have you engaged her already?
She was busy up to until the beginning of the year, so I wanted maybe the three of us meet.
Yeah.
And talk about a design, and again, this is something that, if there's other fields, at least like Kent Street, when that gets developed, this kind of sign, this format, branding, if you will, would go there, and there's other places that we can put it.
Yeah, she can whip that stuff together anytime.
Yeah. But this is all under old business. So
I apologize, I have about 9 minutes before I have to leave.
Okay. Do we go to new business?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not true.
All right, under new business. I've been contacted by people from Ultimate Disc, or Buddha, Boston area Ultimate Disc, about use of the field, as well as an individual who's helped design disc golf fields. And the problem with the disc golf field that we currently have, it's not really a real good field. It was basically,
It's like a
hey,
miniature,
I want to put these
it's a
in.
miniature ultimate first return.
Well, you can't use it if there's any field activities going on. Now, there goes most weekends during the spring and fall, and then the course.
Well, it was the Eagle Scout.
Yeah, but there was no consultation with anybody who plays Ultimate Frisbee, or any tournament directors, not Ultimate Disc Frisbee. And it dealt with the former chairman basically saying, you can put one here, you can put one here. So some of them are really close with no obstacles. Some are field lengths away. It just makes no sense if you play the sport. So there's an individual who said, I'd love to walk the course with you, give you some ideas, and maybe start setting up more regular use of it. Not a moneymaker. There's most of the courses. There's one that's going in Haverhill, it might be up already.
There's one in Newbury already.
One in Amesbury in the park, and then one over at Pie Park in Topsfield. He's been involved in all of them. And trying to get more users at different times, particularly during the summer when we're slow.
Is this a fee thing, or is this free?
However we want to do it.
He wouldn't charge us at least to look it over. he would only charge, if we got into designing the course and he wanted stuff, then he'd want to get, we'd have to talk about materials and probably his consultation.
But as far as,
The use of it.
once it's done, the use is be open to the public?
Most of the time we open to the public, but the idea is
If someone
there are
type
actually
tournament.
leagues
Okay.
and tournaments.
They have tournaments for actual golf? Huh.
Yeah.
We could actually do those in July. because
Some
it's
people
not on
make
the field.
earnings from
You
it.
just walk
$37
across.
and 50 cents might be it, but this might be a supplemental use,
Yeah.
like at the Byfield Arts. Hey, we're having a tournament,
Yeah.
it's $5 to join or free, just to get people to use it of all ages. Boston area, Boston Ultimate Disc Association, they do leagues and tournaments. They do clinics for kids. I don't know if any of the local schools have ultimate disc teams, but it's big in many, because it's a different sport. You don't have to be well, there's a lot more. There's a lot of athleticism to it, but it's not as demanding as some sports.
Would this be something that eventually would take some of those soccer fields use?
They would use it, but we'd have to schedule it differently.
Okay.
So it might be, we open it up during the summer.
That's in July, August, when we normally rest the field. With people going across, you're not running it up and down, you're literally just, you're throwing the disc, you hit the thing, and then you go to that, and then go to the next one, so you're going back and
That's
forth.
two different things. Frisbee golf is like that. But you're talking about ultimate frisbee,
Yeah.
which is running.
Disc,
Oh,
ultimate disc.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are
So
using.
you're talking like a football game, ultimate disc, that I will wear.
Yeah, they don't wear spikes, right?
Yeah,
They just-
yeah, it's
yeah,
football. I thought you were talking
yeah.
about golf thing, I'm sorry.
A lot of the leagues might have pickup games.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
our fields are slow during certain seasons, so people forget about them. But if we can get more people engaged of all ages, that's to our benefit. I just wanted to update people on that, and what was else? That's it for now.
Sleep. Evening.
Just this. So I gave you each a copy. I don't know specifically what they wanted us to strike. I encouraged this gentleman to give us his feedback, make it more user-friendly, decide whether or not we're keeping our fees the same. I have a very hard time. I still feel like we're still on this huge learning curve as far as, I don't feel I'm in a position to really start fiddling with rates this year, but maybe we are. I don't know.
I mean, my immediately, the first thing is, why do we even have a fee schedule on here? I mean, we have it under office use only. If this is an application that somebody's filling out, why would we go ahead and put on there all this, like what we're gonna charge them?
Yeah, when they turn it in, that's when usually the office will say, okay, yeah, here's your fee, here's your amount and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, because there are other people who are using it, and it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. Part of the problem was there wasn't a consistent formula that was applied across the board,
Right.
and we're trying, the town's asking us to say.
Okay.
And it might be,
Yeah.
the question becomes, if it's something that, like the Byfield Arts, you really don't know how many people
Yeah.
you're getting, so it's a question of, and breaking it down between profit versus nonprofit groups, sporting groups. I know one of the questions with part of the field permit application from the sports is you're supposed to list all your players. And most people don't understand why that is. It used to be the difference between a town team, Triton team, was $30, and a non-Triton team was, now it's 50, but it used to be $40. So it has to do with liability, which people don't understand. So the kid gets hurt. When did they get hurt? If they got hurt under when you were playing, then your organization is liable for it. And there's all kinds of reasons that we need to explain better to our users as to why we need the names. And maybe the council will say we don't need the names anymore. I don't know. That's a call for council. But going to this field application, there are a number of organizations that feel, and in our letter we received from a previous adult soccer league, they are under the impression that they are entitled to this every year, that it's their, how can I say it? It was like the language that people use to, that's what I'm looking for. That when you rent it, for example, Triton Mr. Cross,
I know the word you're thinking of.
they feel that they can use it if Pentucket doesn't for a minimal fee. But Memorial Day is sort of our blackout. We control it. The adult soccer in that letter from the under 40 person was, you didn't reinstate us. Well, this is an application for this year only. That it's not guaranteed. Things happen. We want to support and want to be consistent, but that doesn't mean you're guaranteed.
Well, there's one thing I do in that application is just put the year on it. 2016, 2017, or just for the year 2017. And then all you gotta do is make a quick edit each year. It's a 2-second fix, but at least eliminates the issue of when this is. And then, as you're saying, Mark, it instead of feeling like you have it in perpetuity going every year, it's always yours.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you fill an application on each year. So,
Yep.
yeah. Whether you want to do it, but do you normally do a September? They do it for fall and spring once.
Well, it crossed my mind for a split second to do that, except that we have events going year round. So we have events, this is a fee schedule not just for sports, it's for the Byfield Arts Center.
Yep.
Or
Okay.
arts, or whatever. So every user uses the same document. So we don't want to pinhole it just spring or fall.
Okay, that's fine. That's why I was curious. I'm just trying to clarify that. Just at least that year, let them know this is the form for this year. These are the rates for this year, 2017. That's not to say.
I don't need all these phone numbers. It's just home phone, work phone, cell phone.
No.
Just contact.
Contact phone number, you can take that line out.
Why are there two, president's address and address?
To be honest with you, I don't really care about the president's address. I want their email address and that's it.
So here I can already see off the top, obviously, to the left is for a league, and to the right is for
A special event.
a special event. So this is,
Just, yeah, leave it.
and we just want contact phone number, right?
Yep. And you can even take the address out of the equation. As long as you have a phone number and an email, you don't really care where they're from.
Well, some of that in the past would dictate,
Well, I'd say in the past, that's why that was there, because you have the number of players and all that too.
well, if it's a local team, which we give preference to versus,
All right. Then just take the working,
So the
two of the
number
lines
of
out.
players really belongs with the number of teams
Yeah.
on this side.
And then just put the number of participants on the other side, on the special event. So it's projected attendance.
Am I reading this right? Are we interpreting this correctly?
It could go either way. When you look at it, it looks like it's almost like saying, league name, application date, league president's name, so that's the person in charge of it. I'm on the application, president's address, here's my address, here's my email, here's this person's email, and all the contact and stuff. So they laid it out, it's almost like, here's the league person, here's the one that's submitting the application, and if it was the same person, then we just fill one side and say same, and the other, so you don't have to worry about it. But I like what you're doing with it in regards to, I don't care who the league president is at that point, as long as I have the main contact who's filling it out, who most likely is someone on the board or someone that we need to get in touch with. We want contacts.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd get rid of this whole box in the middle. All of this.
Well, I guess it's which field do you want to rent?
But
well, see,
could we have just soccer field, lacrosse field, the entire field? Because for a special event, like the Byfield Arts, whatever, they're taking the whole field, right?
Yep.
For the soccer guys that were just here, I don't think they care whether they're on field 3 or 4 or 2 or 1, they just want a soccer field.
Yeah, the only thing that, I think you could, instead of having all 6 fields and all that, you could have one line. Instead of field names saying type of event, whether it's soccer or whatever, start date, end date, and then what days of the week are you looking to do it? And then that's it, one line, you get the whole middle section out.
Well, traditionally, it's been, when they rent, they get that period, there's different kinds of rental opportunities. Take the first, our most money generating, the seasonal rental of the fields, lacrosse, soccer. They rent for that period, let's say arbitrarily April 1st to June 2nd, and they'll have it from 3 in the afternoon till 8 at night.
Right.
Right, that's it.
X number of days a week, right?
And they usually get every day of the week. Soccer does the same, and the schedule, I mean, we know what fields in the past, hockey or lacrosse and soccer.
Start date, end date, check all across the board, these are the days they're gonna have it, and it's set right there in one line. Instead of-
And
So
we
I-
assign the field.
I'm just looking at this fee schedule here at the bottom, and I'm thinking that something like that should be duplicated at the top, where the first thing that they are checking off is, are they an in-town league, are they an outside user, or is it a special event? Then you work on their contact information.
Yep.
Right.
Going
And when the
down.
heck do they need it?
Then you can ask what kind of dates
Yeah.
they want.
Mhm.
And you can leave this piece at the bottom. I think they wanted us to tweak the fees a little bit, and I'm just quite,
I don't
still
think we-
haven't gotten a feel.
I don't think we should, not this year. This is my personal opinion. I think you're right, I think we need a year to make sure, because the last thing we want to do is a new board come in, all of a sudden, now we're hitting more fees. Worst case, we can hit them the following year if we wanted to, at least get settled.
We still don't know what our budget is.
No.
That-
And our,
that
don't
would
Keep
forget,
asking that every,
That'll be coming to us.
okay.
And it's a hard budget because it's a municipal budget, and then,
No, but what do they typically make? What do they expect us to make? What do they expect us to spend?
Tracy will give us that information. I'll ask her to,
I can work on revamping this, if you want.
I'll throw you some of my ideas.
they send a Word doc,
We can ask them if they could.
Yeah.
they must have something, and then just take you for, like we've done everything, take
What
your
I
first
use-
pass at it and let's start taking it up. Mark
Get
it.
rid of the watermark.
Where's the
I'm going to put my little logo.
Must be.
This is kind of
Because dealing with the size, the police are gonna be involved,
I just,
this application stuff.
yeah, I'm sorry, it's Central Street.
Yeah.
Because if it's, police are needed,
I don't know
we
where
wanna
that
make
is.
sure that we're not
Never seen it.
underscoring.
in Newbury.
That we permit something.
Yeah.
I'll put this in.
I've gone up and down the park river, I've never seen that. What's that?
Hold on to the top.
So I'll try and have this drafted out to you guys before the next meeting, so you can at least make a copy and write your own notes on it.
Yep.
And we can try and sum this up in February, because this has been dragging on kind
Way too
of
long.
since September.
Yeah.
And then we got distracted, and if we want it and get it going for,
The fall, or really for the spring,
the
spring.
and
Yeah.
that's right around the corner. I mean, it's just a matter of really spending some time on it.
Can we have a proposal that we give to the group to review? Not for deliberation, but to review prior to our next meeting? And that way we can make a vote on it at the next meeting. We also should be being prepared to present to the Board of Selectmen, even if it's a same as it was before, our policy handbook, because technically that only goes through March of 16, it's only for that year.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, can we work on this?
Yep.
Can
Send it out to
we
everybody.
Send it out, not for deliberations,
Yeah, oh, absolutely not. And then we'll discuss it
Yeah.
and
at the
then
next meeting.
at the next, and hopefully finalize it.
Right. Yeah, it's, obviously, we're not allowed to discuss anything via email. So I'm only sending it out like I send out the minutes, just so that you guys can get your eyes on it.
Right.
You can kindly tell me you've received it, that's fine. So I know everybody's at least, and then print it out, make your edits, but bring it to the next meeting.
Mhm.
When is the next one?
February 6th.
Do we need to have one beforehand?
I'm gonna be tight, but if we have it in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be tight.
But I said one last thing under business to throw out, and it's an ongoing thing.
You good?
I'm here.
In all seriousness, we alluded to it earlier, we never really came looped around back to it, is basketball courts. Do we know anybody who's involved with Triton youth basketball?
I've been in
Yes,
touch
we
with
do.
them.
Good.
Yeah, me.
I would
I'm on the
say-
board.
I know they said the money's
My
still
last year.
there.
So
It's your last year on the board?
No, my last year with the program, I was with 1 years ago.
So what I'd like to propose is that we have a delegate
A delegate.
to talk to the representatives from that organization and see if we can identify a spot or two. I mean, Kent Street would be ideal to put a couple of courts, but that may take time. Does it make sense? Because I don't think courts are that expensive.
They're about 20.
20 grand?
That was our goal, was 20,
So-
we only came up with half.
Well, it's 20 from start to finish, and I don't know how.
Well, that was without trying to get anything donated and, that. Originally, it was supposed to be to the left, to the right of the field house, before they put the septic system. Again, I haven't walked over there, but that was where originally it was supposed to go.
Can we make a charge that, would you like to be on this delegate?
I'll talk to the.
And identify a couple of spots that we could put up sooner rather than later.
I'll see you till
I think
Saturday.
Kent Street would be an ultimate place to have a couple of great courts.
That's not cleared at all, is it?
That's correct. In due time,
What's Kent Street? Where's Kent Street?
Right
I know we're
behind
on
us.
Kent Street.
right behind us
We're right
there.
behind us.
They
There-
bought that field, like,
Oh, it's between here and the baseball field, right?
Yes.
It was donated by
Yeah.
Ann Pearson years ago.
And the idea is to, at some point, one of our charges, if we so desire, is to utilize that space and how to do so. That may take some time, it may take money,
Yeah.
because it is expensive to lay field work out.
just one caveat, I like Central Street because it's a great place where people can bike to.
Mhm.
It's kind of the central location where Kent Street is, kind of,
We're on the other side of the tracks, if you guys.
no,
I'm just kidding.
I'm on the other
Well,
side.
I didn't mean it that way.
In terms of getting something accomplished in a
Yeah.
very short turnaround, I think Central Street would be the ideal
Easy.
location to get up and running. I think it's important that people see and have opportunities to, at all ages, have opportunities to do stuff at Central Street. That it's not the same old stuff happening.
Yep.
At a short basketball court, again, it might be something where, in partnership with Triton Youth Basketball, there is a summer league going on, or a adult basketball league going on.
Yeah, that's,
Not big money to be made on our part, but if we can
they would
say,
definitely a revenue stream there.
Yeah.
hey, can you help us organize this? Adults are playing from 8 to 9, same rules with the soccer. Get
Well,
people
we
up
can-
there.
Can we do the same thing that we're doing with this, like, over 40 league?
For a basketball thing? Of course we can.
Yes. But we need to have
That's a rev.
this,
Fruition.
what we are doing is revising some of the initial plans that came up with the original plans for the field that people voted on for the field, whether it's the canoe launch, the basketball, etc. These are all things that have not come to fruition. And these were the expectations when people voted on the field, that these would be part of the plan.
Good, I'll talk to Matt. I'll see him.
I already emailed them earlier,
Yeah, all right.
like in September.
I'll see him this week. I don't know when exactly.
I had to make sure that I was
I said, I'll
sure
see
the
him,
money was
I'll
still
see him
there, but I
Saturday,
needed to
that game
ask.
Saturday.
Are there any more items of
I'll see him
discussion
probably.
that can't wait until another time?
Yeah, because I'm running late. I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Wait a minute, my
Aye.
motion.